Hello, this is a video about blind hem stitching. This is one of the methods that I use to hand stitch the blind hem stitch. This leg has already been done, and as you can see, there are no indentions on the outside, but it has been serged and blind hem stitched on the inside. This leg is pinned and hasn't been completed yet. I'm just going to show you how I begin my stitch and just do a few stitches. I like to start at a seam because I can go behind this to start the needle. I don't like to tie knots, so if I start behind here, it gives me enough space to pull a thread to make a different knot. Make sure the camera's getting it. Now this thread is supposed to be blind hem stitch thread, but I have found that I am not a fan of this thread. So I've come from underneath, went up, and I am going to go right back through. I'm only going through the seam part, and you have to keep your thread straight. So then I'm going to go back one more time to lock it. And I used to do knots when I first started sewing, because it's like the obvious thing to do. Sorry, my hands are giving me trouble today. But I just don't like to do knots. So once I learn a different way, and see, you can pull it and it's not going anywhere. All right. To begin the blind hem stitch, you are going to gather just a little piece of the thread. You're going to catch part of the front. Now, I usually do the stitch where you can come over and then separate it. I tried that not too long ago, and this thread is not, it doesn't cooperate. Oh, it did that time. And even though I know I didn't go all the way through, I still like to check on the other side to make sure. And I didn't come through the pants. It's just a habit. And I do an anchor stitch, sorta, which is just me going a little bit closer to the last stitch, pulling a piece and going straight through. I don't have a blind hem stitch machine, but I do, I prefer doing my blind hem stitches by hand. I really don't like this thread. I really don't like this thread. And it really doesn't take that long once you get it into a rhythm. As you can see, I'm still pulling just a little bit. Make sure you actually get a piece of the thread that won't pop or come through. See, these are unraveling, so I don't want those. You need a solid piece of thread. And Yeah, you don't pull it too tight, because even though you can't see the stitch on the other side, you can wrinkle it. It's just that color, that same copper color is unraveling all across. So make sure it stays flat. Since I'm having problems with one color, I'm going to stay away from that copper color because it keeps unraveling. And again, keep it flat, but check your progress on the other side. You want to make sure you can't see any, I call them indentions, but basically spots where you've taken the needle through to grab some fabric. And this is my tutorial video on one method of hand blind stitch sewing. Any comments or questions, please leave them. Have a great, happy holiday.